Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be putting together this beautiful wreath for the spring and Easter season. Let's get started. So last time we were together, we took this egg-shaped wreath form from Dollar Tree and made it into a working wreath frame by adding the pipe cleaners at different locations. So this is my first time doing this, and so we're going to give it a try now and see if it works out. Now because the pipe cleaners are closer than they normally are on on the circular wreath frame, I decided to make the length of each of my poofs a little shorter. So each of the poofs I'm adding in here are just 9 inches in length. So I'm going to go around to each pipe cleaner on the inner circle and add my little poof, and then I'm going to do the same on the outer circle, and then we'll shape them all out before we move on to the next thing. So I made my way around the wreath frame on the outer and inner edge, and now I'm taking a zip tie and securing the end of the deco mesh before I trim it there, and that'll hold it tightly in place so it won't be fraying and sticking out into your wreath. And now I'm going back and doing the same thing with the where I started, taking a zip tie, wrapping it around there and securing it really tight. Be sure you push in the ends of those zip ties so that they won't be scratching your door or scratching your customer. So now I'm just trying to get in there and trim up all of those zip ties. So the next thing we want to do is begin shaping the mesh we put on, and I just want to fill it out a little bit, not too much, because this wreath frame is I don't want it to be super big because I'm trying to retain the shape of the egg. After I work my way around the frame, you'll see it still looks a little bit like an egg shape. It's starting to lose its shape already just because of the fullness of these poofs, but it still does have the egg shape. So this blue deco mesh is 10 yards, and I had enough to cover 2 egg-shaped wreath frames. So on the next step we're going to do is to make our gathers deco mesh to add on top of that layer of the poofs. I'm cutting my mesh at 18 inches using 2 different alternating colors. Doing this, I again had enough to make 2 wreaths. Doing this way, cutting it at 18 inches, and I actually had a little bit left over. Because of the number of ties we put on the frame, we ended up with 19. So the inner loop has an even number, but the outer loop had an odd number. So what will happen is that you'll end up with 2 of the same colors next to each other. So I'm going to be going green, pink, and at some point I had 2 pinks or 2 greens together. I can't remember which one. But I put it on the area, I started in the area where I knew I was going to put a bow, so that when I made my way all the way around and I ended up with those 2 colors together, that would be hidden by my bow. So here's the ribbon we'll be using for my wreath. All of these are from Sam's Club, and the ones you see with the green labels are actually ones I just purchased this past week. They have their spring ribbon in already at my location. I'm on the East Coast, and so all 4 of these really make a nice bow. The yellow ribbon with the white polka dots is a little more silky, but it still holds its shape pretty well as long as you're not, pushing against it or anything. So all of them are ribbon that I would purchase again for myself. When you go to look at their ribbon on the right hand side of where it's stored in the store, they have samples of the ribbon right there on the right hand side or the left hand side of the container, and you can actually feel the ribbon and see what it looks like up close, and test it yourself, shape it out, see how it works for you, and see if you like it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all my ribbon, and I'll be right back. So I've cut all my ribbon and I've dovetailed the ends, and I'm actually going to lightly fold them in the center so they'll be ready for when I'm ready to gather them. And then I also want to mention that the number of pipe cleaners on that wreath frame actually came to 19. So I did 10 of one set of ribbon and 9 of the other color. Now with my mesh and my ribbons ready, I began taking my 18-inch pieces and scrunching them up the middle, leaving a little bit of the ends folded in. And then I take my ribbon and gather that up in the center. And then I will take that and put it on top of the mesh, and then place the mesh into a pipe cleaner. Each one I give a twist about 5 times before clipping it, and then I fold the end of it into the wreath so that that raw edge won't be sticking up and there to cut someone. So I'm trying to spread the mesh a little, but not too much, because again, I'm trying to retain the shape of this wreath, but in the end, we'll see how we work out. So I'm going to alternate colors. I just did a pink on the top, and now you're going to see I'm going to do a pink on the bottom. I'm sorry, I'm going to do a green next to it on the top. And with the green, I'm using the yellow and blue ribbon. So you just tuck the end under and then gather it up as you walk your fingers, leaving it gathered on the tucked under on the opposite end where you end up. And then I gather my ribbon, take that, put it on top of the mesh, and go ahead and insert it into my wreath. Again, giving the pipe cleaners about 4 or 5 twists, and then clipping them. Tucking that end in, you don't want to forget to do that, and then spreading my ribbon. So I'm just going to keep working my way around, and then I'll get back to you and show you what else we have to do. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And if you'd like to see what's coming next, don't forget to hit that button and ring the bell so you'll become a member and you won't miss out on the other things I have planned for this channel. I'm trying to decide if next I want to do a cross wreath, or do I want to go to something outside of strictly Easter or spring type wreaths. So we'll see. I'll pull out some things and put a plan together, and I'll have something new for you again. All right, let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to shape this wreath up a little bit, make sure I haven't mashed down any of my deco mesh or my ribbons as I've worked my way around. And I'm kind of playing with it here. You won't see it until the end. I actually kind of redirect it, I guess you would say, how everything falls, so that the mesh, instead of going kind of sideways, is all pointed toward the outer edge, and my ribbons go toward the outer edge too. And I thought that that would help me keep, again, the shape of the egg. So I'm just going to play around in here, and I actually go into the center and trying to push some of that deco mesh into the wreath so that the center opening stays open. That's one important part of keeping that egg shape, having the opening in the center that's also an egg shape. So I'm going to play with this for a little while, and then we'll be ready for the next step. So my next step is to make my bow. I use 6-inch tails and 6-inch loops. So I'm going to start with this yellow and white ribbon. something about yellow ribbon. I just think it's so pretty. And then I'm going to move on to the other colors that I used within my wreath. They will also be in my bow. And I'm going to put it on in the order of the yellow and white, and then the blue, which are paired together in the wreath. And then I'm going to do the pink plaid and the green, which are paired together in the wreath. And then we will shape that bow up and keep it moving. So after adding all the ribbon for my bow, I am now wrapping it with a zip tie. I like using the zip ties for my center because it makes them really tight. And excuse me for going off camera there for a minute, but I've added in my pipe cleaner, and that will be used to attach the bow to my wreath. So I'm going to, now that I've got that all together here, you can see, I'm going to take this little tool I use and just pull my zip tie really, really tight. And I'm doing that now because I've already begun to shape my bow. If I hadn't, I would shape the bow first and then pull it super tight. And I've clipped off the edge of my zip tie. And now I'm going to just work on shaping this bow some more till I get it just like I want it. And this is how I usually start. And then I remember, oh, that's right, I've got to dovetail my ends. So I go back and start dovetailing all the ends that I haven't done. Sometimes I do like half of them for each ribbon that I start. Sometimes I do none of them. So I'm going to get them all dovetailed here, and then I'll go back to shaping my bow. Now don't forget, if you enjoying the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. I've been away for a while. You know, I'm trying to make my way back here, and I really want the algorithm to begin recognizing my videos. So if you could give me a thumbs up, it would really, really help me to get going again. And if you're new to the family, don't forget to hit the button and ring the bell so that you can be notified as I release new videos. If you've been around for the last few weeks, you'll see I'm starting a series of shorts on how to make a really nice bow, giving you some of the secrets that I use to making my bows. And I hope that that's helpful to you. So right now I'm just shaping my bow, getting everything kind of how I want it, and then I will move on to the next step. So my next step is to add my bow to the wreath, and remember I said because I had an odd number of pipe cleaners on the outer ring, I'm going to add that bow to cover up where I have two matching ribbons. And I shared earlier how that happened. So I am looping this, pulling those pipe cleaners through all of that mesh, trying to get it through without tangling and making the mesh shred and all that stuff. So I've got to find my openings, pull it through. Please excuse me for being off camera here. And once I get it through, I'm just going to pull it enough that it's right on top of the wreath, but not dipping into the wreath. You don't want to ever mash all of that beautiful deco mesh you have there, and that's there to support your bow and make it sit up. So you don't want to mash it and pull it into the wreath. You want the bow to just sit on top nicely, almost like it's floating in the air. Okay, so let me move on so that you can see how this wreath looks, and I'll share some pictures with you of how it might even look on a door if I can get that to work. All right, I thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll be talking with you again real soon.